Well, that was an interesting start to this podcast, mate. I don't know what just happened there.
Yeah, just trying new things as you do.
So I'm Andrew Clark. This is Chris Edge. Welcome to BCFC Fanzine Charlton preview match reaction live stream. As you can see, the team is up on the screen in front of you. A couple of big calls to be made. No Beadle in this side at all, which indicates he was concussed and he was knocked out and he did have a massive black eye. Yeah. Chris.
Well, if that is the case, then there's even bigger questions to ask of why it wasn't picked up at the time. So by bringing him out the team for that reason, you've admitted not looking after a player, which is what a lot of people have said beforehand anyway. So, or have they just basically not put him on the bench to make it not look like he's been dropped so they can please Brighton? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Either way,
things though.
Either way,
yeah.
Delighted that Ryan's back in goal because he's
I oddly feel more confident ahead of this game now that knowing that he's in goal.
Oh yeah.
No, I really do. I think that he just looks. Just hopefully he doesn't get injured because I don't know how much about Brad Mayo. Apparently he's a good goalkeeper, but obviously he's never played at this sort of level. So let's just hope that Allsop gets through the 90.
Well, I've heard he can pass, so that still puts him ahead of Beadle.
Still not a goalkeeping trait. Just saying, goalkeeper, keep the ball out of the net.
So I mean, many changes. So Bright comes out. Doyle not involved at all for whatever reason.
No Kyogo again.
No Kyogo. Vicente in for Roberts and Priske in for Stano. So
I think for me, just looking at it, like we've got 4 defenders on the bench. 4, right? It seems a little bit that substitution. And I knew everyone's talked to, everyone kind of knows that I played rugby in the past and stuff. It looks like a rugby substitutes bench. We've got the forwards, which will be the defenders at this point, and there's generally more of them. And then 3 to 4, because Kanya's not coming on. I mean, unless something drastic happens, Kanya's not coming on.
That's what I was just about to say, really. You look at that there, so you go, okay, so unless there's an injury, Neumann and Robinson aren't coming on.
Yeah.
Kenya won't come on. And if he brings... It'll be either one or of Bright or Laird should he decide to make a change there. So realistically, you look at that and go, well, that means there's only 3 players that he's going to be willing to bring on.
Yeah. And I do.
Kyogo is obviously fit.
So it has to be a tactical thing.
Yeah. What's tactical about not picking a striker?
We were banging on about him actually starting, and he's not even in the team.
But I mean, he won't play again. That's it now.
No. I think unless there's an injury to Priske, Stansfield, or Dutch, we won't see him again.
I don't think he'll even do that.
No.
I'm not sure about this, to be honest. I've said to you just before. I mean, hopefully it's not something that I'm going to bang on about after the game, but it's just insistence of playing his favourite players. Now, we all know that Tomoki went to right back at the start of the season because we had no right backs fit. It was
out of necessity. It was out of necessity.
The thing is, now we've got no positions that we haven't got anyone available for, and the insistence to play a midfielder at right back when you've got 2 right backs sat on the bench, it just beggars belief.
It doesn't make any sense. I think he's taken Bright out of the firing line because he had a bad game on Monday, but who didn't? Who didn't have a bad game on Monday? So
he had no worse a game than anyone else, and then you can't stick up for him in the press conference and then drop him for a player that isn't even a right back. I'm sorry, it's all about playing your favourite players. I mean, what happens when we're going to sign another midfielder and Paik will play at left back as well? Then is that what we're going to do? Is that the way it is for the rest of our lives?
Right. I just think, I can't. I mean, Tomoki, he adds balance to the side, but I just think he's one of those players that again has played a lot of matches. And when does this end? Do you know what I mean? But then, right, let's look at it from a positive point of view. Chris Davis is 100th game in charge of Birmingham City today. How, I look back fondly on the memories he's given us, but he's under pressure because he has to get a result today. And the hope has come back a little bit. Allsop coming in has given me more hope ahead of this game. And I still believe we will win this game and we'll win comfortably 3-1.
I'd have a lot more hope if Beadle was on the bench, because that would tell me that he's actually been brought in for a footballing reason rather than an injury. So what's going to happen? He plays well, we play well and win, but Beadle's fit that he comes back in again. Is that what's going to happen?
All Allsop has to do in this situation is do exactly what he did against Leeds. Get us on the front foot, show him why he's the definitive number one. I think there's not many people out there that would disagree with that statement. However, in Chris Davis, who is in charge of the club, he's not the number one. So, unfortunately, we have to kind of suck it up and see with that. But hopefully, Allsop does put a performance in today. This is why I'm more confident today, because without it being a freakishly good goal, which Leeds' goal was a good goal, to be fair, it was a good goal. There was no way that Allsop was able to save it. I don't think Beadle would have saved it either. But, that's maybe just me just trying to defend the goalkeepers union still. But I think, I'm pretty happy with that team. I think Paik and Tomoki, Paik has probably made the decision not to have the surgery until after the World Cup, just based on the fact he wants to go to the World Cup. But the more he plays, the more danger it is it's going to happen again. So, look, Gray's in. We had a couple of, comments on the last podcast. And thank you for watching, those who do watch us. Look, the Gray has been, and I think someone actually commented underneath this, Gray has been consistently our best player all season. And I think it would be very pushed to say if there was anyone, Clara maybe, but consistently Damari Gray he's dug us out of holes in the past. Let's not forget Sheffield Wednesday were 30 seconds away from getting a 2-1 win at home at St Andrews. So we have to look back on this season, and now there's no pressure on the team now. There's no pressure on the team. We're not going to get into the playoffs. They might still believe that they're going to get into the playoffs, but it's just not going to happen.
It depends really what type of pressure we're talking about here, because if we're talking about pressure to be branded failures, then I think they are under pressure. I think they're under pressure, to be honest with you. I mean, the last thing they want is for the fans to lose faith in the players that we have, and I think they're dangerously close to this.
I think on you can look at an underperforming team and stuff like that. Just judging by, we were 15-8 to be promoted at the start of the season. That's short odds, like really short odds for a team that are going back to back. We just need to now go, okay, play for your shirt, because you want to be here next season. Panzo he's only on a short deal, so he's playing every single game he's playing for a new contract. And I think that there's a couple of players that will be playing for that shirt.
Well, you say that, but then Tomoki and Paik will play, so they're not playing for their shirt. Allsop doesn't matter, seems to matter how he plays. Like he's not playing for his shirt because he's either number one or he isn't. If I was in that 11 today, I would be looking on that bench and be saying, well, I don't actually feel under any pressure that there's anyone on the bench that's going to come in and put pressure on me there. That's I'm dead honest, that is, because Osman and Roberts haven't really been doing much the last few games. Stano is in terrible form. The rest of them basically haven't played. So,
but let's put a positive spin, right? Have we got any comments that have come through? Can we put some comments up on so we can address them? Obviously, thank you for watching. Is Kyogo on his way out? I'd probably suggest he probably is. Yeah, I actually think that the MLS window is open. I could be wrong on that. So, but I could see him going to the MLS. Allsop to Dave a penalty today. Oh, to save a penalty. To save a penalty. Thank you, John. Yeah. So Allsop to save a penalty today. From Lyndon Dykes, I hope as well. That would make my. We forgot about Lyndon because we haven't really talked about Charlton. But
so we know exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah,
because Nathan Jones is that type of manager that he somehow knows how to get under our skin.
Yeah, so he gets under my skin.
As long as we put in a very bad performance away at Charlton last season when they beat us 1-0.
Yeah, that was the first defeat, wasn't it? The first defeat of our season at that point.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect Charlton to be playing any other style of football than they did on those occasions, including the game at St Andrews earlier on in the season, which incidentally was a draw.
Mm-hmm. For me, I think Nathan. There's two managers in football. They've managed in the Championship and leagues. We'll forget the ones that we've had like Cottrell and stuff because we could talk all day about those. Number one is Thomas Frank. When he was the manager of Brentford in the Championship and we kept nicking a 1-0 win. Whilst he had some valid points, we were the better team, etc. Your team lost 1-0. So clearly you've got a problem with your attacking. And the second one is Nathan Jones, because for exactly the same reason, post-match interview, well, I don't think we played that bad. You lost 5-0, Nathan. How much worse could you have played?
It's funny you should mention Thomas Frank because he'd be on my shortlist for the next manager, should we need a next manager. But anyway.
I don't know if I could deal with it. I don't know if I could. I could see him being a manager that who would embrace, because obviously he's got Championship experience. He's obviously taken Brentford up. He kept them up. He solidified them as a Premier League team. I think that's just my personal preference, and that is probably the sound that's just come out of my mouth is the description of what I feel about Thomas Frank. But would I have him? Yes, probably. I'm not going to probably shoot. I'm going to say, credentials wise, he's obviously fits the bill. But the other question is, would he come to us? Because at the minute we are a mid-table Championship team. Then again, he was the number 2. For Dean Smith, who is obviously of Villa ilk. So he may have a bit of a strong disconnect with Blues, just down to the fact that, no, you think he doesn't care?
No. Any manager would take this job. Projects with a squad like this. Something to prove.
I have this issue with the word project. I have this issue with the word project because every manager and every club who've uttered the word project have been sacked very quickly.
No, but that's not the same. The project is a club project. The project is that's the project. It's not the squad. The squad isn't the project because the squad's there.
Yeah, no, and I do get it. I get it. It's a project for Knighthead and
that's what I mean.
and Jeremy Dale and Tom Brady and everyone like that. But it just reminds me of Andre Villas-Boas back in the day going, oh, welcome, I'm here, I'm excited about the project. And he got sacked within maybe 2 months. Yeah. So do we have any more comments before we head off into the sunset? Let's see if you get us. If not, I'd like it. Is this the guy? Oh, so hang on. Is this the guy who is the manager of Bodo Glimt? Because if he is, that guy is an absolute genius, because he's got Bodo Glimt to the quarterfinals and they didn't even win their league in the Champions League. But they are just brilliant. They play brilliant football, and he would probably know a couple of the players who would be able to fit into the Championship. So yeah, why not? A curveball there for Mr. Frutos.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about managers. It's only when you mentioned Thomas Frank. I mean, we for anyone that's watching, it wasn't the plan to talk about our next manager. It's just that when Thomas Frank came up out of But it's a try and enjoy, everybody. Listen, we've got to win. Hopefully
we'll be back at 5:25.
I'm wrong about the things that I've said.
Yeah. So before we go, 3-1. Priske gets off the mark. Don't know anyone else to score. Maybe he gets a double. Who knows? Dutch will probably score as well. Lyndon Dykes will probably score against us because that has a habit of happening against us. We sell a player and then they go and score against us. Give us a like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, and I have been Andrew Clark. This has been Chris Edge. Hopefully we come back at 5:25 with big grins on our face.
All right, see you in a bit.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Ride on to